Hello, everyone. It's your favorite host, Herwig Konings, here for the Security Token Show. It's Friday, which means we've got another amazing episode for you lined up. But unfortunately, you are stuck with me this week. Unfortunately, Kyle and Nico for our market movement segment will not make it. So we're going to get right into the show, starting with the market movements. And first up this week, we got a big major announcement from SteelWave, who we got to hear speak at Tokenize This. If you were there, you might have already heard this big announcement, but it became official this week, a $500 million real estate fund that will be tokenized. That is a huge sum of money, but not necessarily for SteelWave, as they've done tens of billions of dollars in real estate transactions and development in the past. And we've, of course, heard from Mitch DiRaimondo, who actually is the son of Barry, the founder, and actually the inception, the reason why I believe they went into tokenization, as he had an early story in crypto, as we had learned. This is a big deal, given that there is a lot of institutional activity going on. But when it comes to real estate, it's less seen in that case. SteelWave is one of those major issuers that's validating this technology on the real estate front, obviously looking to seek a lot of capital to deploy, acknowledging the fact that they recognize that in the future, they may well be raising a lot of their capital from a digital securities standpoint. So very good to see SteelWave officially make the announcement, and can't wait to see them deploy that capital. Of course, it's unlikely that the underlying properties will be tokenized, given that they do everything under their own roof, no pun intended. Moving on, we saw a big announcement from Blocksquare. Blocksquare has officially hit the $100 million milestone in tokenization, specifically around real estate. They set across 21 countries and in a variety of different types of real estate. Quote unquote, they look as a clear signal to the industry that tokenizing RWAs holds immense value for creating a bridge to invest in traditional assets. I couldn't have said it better myself. This is also around the launch of Blocksquare's Ocean Point V0.5 net. So that's very cool to see that they are officially a large protocol now, a large provider of tokenization. 100 million is no small mark. Next, we saw a new Reg CF offering in a space, Akemona, who actually is licensed and active in this space. They have a whole tokenization suite. So if you're thinking about a Reg CF, maybe check them out, because Wolfer Finance, chose them specifically for their offering. What Wolfer Finance does, founded by Drew Wolfer in 2022, they have a history of building validation networks for blockchains, master nodes and validator nodes to create income and validate transactions and store data on chain. They say to do it for Ethereum, Avalanche, Phantom, Opera Network, Flux, and they actually plan to expand into crypto mining. So this is an offering, gets you exposure to the crypto asset space. And again, it's available for anybody to go check out at Akemona, which, by the way, they've already raised around 80,000 according to the platform. They're seeking a total of 2.5 million. So good luck to Wolfer Financial. And the last big piece of news that's definitely worth checking out is Fortunify, announcing that they have raised another $3.16 million in the latest strategic round that they've done since 2021. That puts their total funding to almost $10 million at nearly a $50 million valuation, marking yet again another healthy signal for the industry, specifically for investing in infrastructure providers like this. This actually comes on the heels of an announcement that they plan to also launch in June 2024, the Reservoir stablecoin protocol, which kind of speaks for itself what they aim to do there, but a sign that not just a tokenization platform, not just a protocol, they're expanding their offerings to do multiple different things in the industry, as we see many players tend to do when it comes to expansion of offerings. So very exciting news. Lots of good stuff going on this week. Again, check out Tokenize This for a lot of these players that were there and have panels and keynotes. You can check it out on STM TV official. But those are the market movements this week. We've got a couple of great interviews lined up for you, though, including one with SteelWave. So why don't we jump right into it?
Great. Well, thank you, Herwig. Today we're joined by Mitch DiRaimondo here from SteelWave Digital. Mitch, how are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. We're excited to dive a little deeper into this fund that you guys recently announced. You announced that Tokenize This 2024 here in Miami, and you've gone ahead and gone fully public now, as we saw the press release. So tell us, before we could dive into that, though, tell us a little bit about SteelWave Digital and how you came into the world of tokenization.
Yeah. So my story is I started off in the crypto space, really trading volatility. I founded a hedge fund in college that focused on controlling the risk through trading that volatility with very short-term holds, spit bets. But in doing that, we kind of saw everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. We saw what worked, we saw what didn't. And when I graduated, I kind of realized that there really isn't backing to a lot of these projects. At the end of the day, a lot of these projects are backed by nothing but an idea or a white paper that doesn't exist. So I'm like, if we could bridge real estate behind one of these protocols or deals, whatever you want to call it, it would really be a forward mover in the space. So I graduated. I went to my father, who's the founder of SteelWave, and I was like, Barry, I think we can basically use this technology to open up doors, which you previously never thought possible. So we kind of dove headfirst into it, and we started doing this end of 2020. We were pretty naive in the beginning. We were like, hey, you know what? We can go take a deal, $100 million deal, put it on an exchange, sell it out. We very soon realized that doesn't exist, right? There is no depth really in the market. So we came to the conclusion that the only way that there is depth is if institutions step in. And then the only way institutions step in is if there's a product they want, which is why we released this new fund. It's very risk off, very simple. It's something that institutions can wrap their head around easily. And then we just offer them the option to tokenize. And in doing that, you're not forcing them into the space, but you're showing them the benefits, and then they make that decision themselves. And that's really where we see, the institutions starting to come in, develop the rails. There are a bunch of hurdles still, go through, regulatory issues, custody issues, stuff like that. But we're definitely on the front edge of it. We're pretty excited about it.
Makes sense to me. I think on our advisory side, that's a lot of what we've, told our clients in the past. Is really, to your very point, you don't have to tokenize right off the bat. Just be on the digital rails and give people the option. Which, to your point about institutions, they have to crawl before they walk, before they run. And so it's a great, I think, at least starting point for them. But you guys have raised, multiple amounts in the past, right? So, how did you guys decide on maybe this $500 million mark? And what are you guys looking to deploy into?
Yeah, so really our deal size at SteelWave is pretty big, which makes, coming into this new space kind of difficult. Where our smallest deal is 100 million. We have deals that go upwards of $3+ billion a piece. So for us, we were like, look, if we can just launch a $500 million fund, which is really, it sounds like a big number, but in real estate, that's not that big of a number because it's all about scale in this space. And do it and buy the real estate that we create, right? Right now is a completely fractured real estate market. We see it as kind of one of the best generational buy points we've seen. For example, what was $1,900 to $1,700 a square foot in SF is now somewhere around $600 or $700 a square foot. So when it's doing that, you can really go in and do something pretty cool. So we really wanted to keep it simple. We wanted to get the opportunity out to international players. And that was the biggest key here. It's all right, Barry, you've been running in the US, you have a bunch of US capital you've been deploying, but let's take this to the next step and bring it global. And that's really where we're trying to, do that push and be kind of the front edge of it, especially since the US, I think personally, and you guys see it firsthand, is definitely lagging compared to other countries when it comes to regulatory clarity, all these other rails that are being developed. So for us, we want to be kind of the US flag that's pushing it into the space. And we're pretty excited about that.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense. We've seen multiple U.S. properties be tokenized and offered to not only non-U.S. investors through other platforms. Sounds like you guys are, paying attention to that as well. Luckily, we recently saw a bill get passed in the House of Representatives, so hopefully makes its way through the Senate and continue that momentum in terms of getting regulatory clarity here in the U.S. But nonetheless, again, we're crawling before we walk and run, as we mentioned before. So what are next plans for you guys? You guys launched this. What are you guys looking forward to, I guess, deploying in the future, or what are you guys really working towards?
Yeah. Well, we're not really in the fund business. Really what we do is a bunch of joint ventures because we think it's just better to have the long-term relationships. You don't do as much hand holding. There's a bunch of benefits to that. So really our goal is with this fund to get familiar with a couple international institutions that want exposure, get them in the fund, get it rolling, but then do long-term deals with them in the future, right? Be deploying joint ventures in the United States with like-minded capital that kind of sees this as the future as well. And there's a bunch of that out there. It's just about finding it and developing like really good relationships with them. So that's really our goal here with the fund. It was to open the door, get their feet in the water, but really show them our product, our pipeline, and then deploy over time with them. So we're excited about that. I think it's opening up new doors for us. It's definitely, an interesting time doing international raises, especially with all the political and, issues that have arisen, but we're excited to be on the forefront of it. And, we're learning every day, which is good.
Makes sense to me. Well, if someone wants to participate in this offering, how can they get in touch with you, or how can they go ahead and check it out? What's the best way?
Yeah. Our website, SteelWave.com, has our portfolio. So you can kind of take a peek at the real estate that we do. It's not normal real estate. It's pretty cool, which it makes selling, around it pretty easy. But yeah, we're active on LinkedIn, Twitter, and I'm always on my email, and feel free to reach out.
All righty. Well, again, Mitch, thank you for coming on, sharing your perspective here. For anyone watching and listening, go ahead and contact Mitch or SteelWave directly, and see if you guys are interested in participating, or just follow them and see what else is coming in for the rest of their journey here. But yeah, with that, we'll be moving on to another interview, this time with REtokens, as they're also tokenizing real estate on Polymesh. Mitch, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
We're joined today by Tyler Vinson, CEO of REtokens, in a very exciting announcement that came recently. But before we dive in, Tyler, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jason. How you doing?
Doing very, very well. You guys mentioned recently that you guys will be, you are tokenizing $30 million in real estate on the Polymesh blockchain. Before we dive into it, though, why don't you give us a quick overview on you and REtokens as a platform?
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Tyler Vinson. I'm the CEO of REtokens. REtokens is a real estate tokenization and investment management platform. So what we do is we tokenize real estate for third party, and we give them a software platform to manage their tokens, manage their investors, and a portal to plug into ATSs to participate in secondary market.
Very nice, very nice. We did a webinar with you guys on Security Token Prime, showing all the bells and whistles that you guys have on your platform and so forth. So for anyone watching that wants to learn a little more, go ahead and check that out. But in the meantime, like I said, you guys are tokenizing $30 million on Polymesh. How did you guys come across, these assets and this decision to do it specifically with Polymesh?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we decided to really make sure that we had the compliance side and the software side all dialed in before we really brought projects on. So most of these projects, we were actually talking to these folks for a while, and they found us. And so we are excited to roll out some of the marketing that we're going to do. But in all three cases, they found us, I believe, through our YouTube channel, were all three of them. We post a lot of content, educational content on tokenization, real estate tokenization, and then specifically how it benefits real estate investors, both general partners and limited partners. And I think that's the part that really sparked their interest and made them choose REtokens, is because we do specialize in real estate and digital strategy for real estate.
Gotcha. And you mentioned there's about three of them. Are the $30 million split between the three evenly, or are some assets, a little bigger than the others? Can you explain a little bit more on the breakdown?
Yeah, no problem. The breakdown, about 20 million is allocated to an apartment building in Texas. $10 million is a multifamily fund for multifamily, and I believe storage in there as well. And then there's actually 4 total projects. The other 2 are smaller. One is a townhouse project, and the other is actually a church in Colorado. So I'm not sure if it's true, but I've been told it may be the first tokenized church in the U.S.
Honestly, I think you might be right. We'll verify, but I believe you're probably the first there, so that's exciting.
Yeah, it's a model they want to consider taking across the U.S. because there's various small churches that all use the same building, and so there's some ideas they have behind that.
Makes sense to me. And there's a lot that you guys shared on the Tokenize This panel that you guys were just on here in Miami. Are there any key takeaways maybe from that conference that you shared that maybe you want to reiterate to our audience watching the Security Token Show?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say it was a great event. So if you haven't gone back and checked out the different panels and the speakers from that, it was phenomenal content. It really gave a full spectrum look at the world of tokenization. I primarily live in the real estate world of that, or the real estate note world. There's a preview of coming attractions, but this really covered the scope, which gets into the different technological aspects. For me, selfishly, the biggest takeaway was there's additional liquidity pathways than just maybe a digital ATS like we were thinking. We talked to a gentleman there. Gabriel actually was another speaker, and for some of our Reg S stuff that we're working on, he showed us what he's working on for different liquidity pathways and out of country token buyers or out of US token buyers. And then another gentleman on your panel, they have a P2P infrastructure they've set up with liquidity pools. And those are kind of different ideas that we've since brought back, and not only are looking at potentially working with both of those groups, but it gave us ideas for liquidity pathways for secondary trading besides just plugging in to an ATS, because as everybody knows, the secondary trading is not a robust, flourishing marketplace yet, but that's something that we're very focused on spearheading and that we're building out right now. So for me, that was one of the biggest takeaways.
Very nice. And I know you guys, again, from the webinar on STP, you guys have built, a platform that really helps the issuer go through this process. But to your point, liquidity is also something that needs to be taken into account. So with all that said, I do want to ask, what's next for REtokens? What's in your pipeline? What future plans can we expect to kind of see in the headlines moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. As you mentioned, we have that primary issuance platform with the tokenization. And so we actually expect at least 30 million in contracts, and actually probably more to come in June as well. One of those I kind of alluded to earlier is a fund to make residential loans, residential short-term loans. So that part will be a first for us, as well as some cool pieces of real estate, both established real estate and development real estate. So should be a pretty big month next month. One thing we're really excited about that we're getting towards the tail end of is some tech. Basically, it's going to be a portal on REtokens that allows issuers in a low friction manner to actually trade on a digital ATS. There's a couple of digital ATSs we're talking with, one of them that we're building on. But there's one reason you don't see a lot of trading on digital ATSs for security tokens is there's a lot of friction there. You've got transfer agents, and you've got custodial, and then you've got settlement, and all these different pieces where we're building the tech to make a lot of that automated and programmatic and integrated with transfer agents, custodians, ATS for settlement, and all of that. So it really will just be a few clicks of the button for somebody to go from primary issuance, once their security is seasoned, into trading into a secondary marketplace. And I think that's going to be a significant change for the real estate tokenization industry. A lot of what we see out there are these primary issuances or capital raises, but now we'll start targeting and bringing board a lot of seasoned securities. So these are projects that are more traditional Reg D 506Cs, things like that, that have been established for more than 12 months or a lockup period, which is required before you can trade secondary. And those will be able to come aboard and with some amendments to their current legal docs, pass straight through to the secondary market and start trading. So by Q3, we expect to have some throughput on a secondary marketplace trading real estate security tokens.
Wow, that's really exciting. So it sounds like next month into Q3, we'll definitely bring you back on the show because we want to learn more as those announcements come out and so forth. And of course, once they start trading on secondaries, we'll definitely want to track them on stm.co as well. So with all that said, Tyler, how can people get in touch with you with REtokens if they want to explore your platform, learn about how to tokenize real estate, whether they're an asset owner or if they want to invest into any assets hosted on REtokens?
Yeah, absolutely. Within the next 30 days or so, we should have this 30 million in assets available to invest in for accredited investors. And you'll just be able to go to REtokens.com and click the investment opportunity button to learn more about us and get content on what we're putting out, our newest information. You can either go to our YouTube channel by searching @REtokens, or we're on LinkedIn. Both myself and REtokens have a pretty strong presence on LinkedIn, and any of those avenues will get you to our newsletter, which I would highly recommend. We put that out every week.
Fantastic. Well, I get the newsletter myself, so it's definitely a good read. Anyone else that's looking to look into these assets, go ahead and subscribe and follow them. Of course, get in contact with Tyler and the team as more and more assets come on chain, especially on their platform. Tyler, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jason. Always a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Likewise. All right, well, we'll be transitioning on to the next section of the show.
What a great week. Kind of like doing the show on my own just because we get to go. But I do miss the great opinions and insights, of course, from Kyle and Nico. So we hope to see them again next week. But we can't end our show without, of course, the companies of the week. At least I get to choose one this week. So who will be my winner? Puts them in the running for potentially company of the year for what they did this week. They're the ones who captured my heart. The spotlight I want to give to this week goes to SteelWave. SteelWave doing a massive tokenized fund for real estate, $500 million. Remember, the largest tokenized fund is just shy of that right now, sitting around $450 million. So this is no small amount of money they're trying to raise. But as I said earlier, and as we heard in the interview, these are experts from the real estate sector. They are as institutional from that sector as it gets without crossing into Wall Street. For that reason, I think SteelWave is going to make a lot of noise and a lot of attention. And I sincerely hope that their raise goes incredibly well so they can continue to raise more money. At the end of the day, they're on the forefront of not just tapping into new pools of capital digitally, but they're also educating their current investor base on what this means, the advantages of the technology, as we've heard from the interview, and as we know from just tokenization in general. So love to see the father-son combo that's also in action here, Barry and Mitch. And of course, I expect them to continue to do big things. So for that reason, they're my company of the week. Good luck with the race, SteelWave. And with that, that's our show. Go check out stm.co. In the meantime, we've got all the latest trading data, all the latest information you need, what's going on with the market, with BUIDL, with everything else that's tokenized out there. And of course, we have our YouTube channel, STM TV Official. If you're not already watching it from here, go check it out. We got a lot of other great interviews. We got all the Tokenize This panels and keynotes. And last but not least, if you want to get active, you want to get into the community, Well, we've got Security Token Prime, securitytokenprime.com. Sign up for that research community. You've got a lot of great resources in there, and I hope to meet you in there. So with that, catch you again next week on Fridays, and have a great weekend. Happy tokenizing.